There is a truth most people overlook. You do not attract what you chase, you attract what you embody. If you want others to see you as valuable, rare, and unforgettable like a luxury, then you must first see yourself that way. Luxury is not stitched in silk or draped in gold. Luxury begins in the unseen, in the belief you hold about yourself. When you live from the conviction that you are worthy of admiration, respect, and desire, the world mirrors that belief back to you. Let us walk through 5 keys that will open this door for you. Each one is not just a concept but a practice, a way of being, a reality to step into. There is a truth most people overlook. You do not attract what you chase, you attract what you embody. Life is not waiting for you to run after it with desperate hands. It waits for you to stand in the fullness of who you are, and it bows in recognition when you dare to own your worth. If you want others to see you as valuable, as rare, as unforgettable, then you must first see yourself that way. The world is only ever a mirror, reflecting the image you hold of yourself. Luxury is not stitched in silk or draped in gold. Luxury is born in the unseen, carried in your inner conviction, revealed through the way you walk into a room and the energy that precedes your words. Think for a moment of someone you have encountered who left a mark on you without doing much at all. Maybe it was the way they carried themselves, or the way their presence seemed to fill a space with calm command. That impression was not created by accident. It was not about their clothes, their possessions, or their outward show. It was the result of an inner knowing, a quiet belief in who they are. And if you desire to be seen as a luxury, it begins in that same invisible space. You must first believe in the story you are telling about yourself. You must see yourself not as common, not as replaceable, but as rare. And when you hold that image firmly, others have no choice but to respond to it. The actor who rehearses a role does not beg the audience to believe in the character. They believe it themselves so fully that the audience is carried along without resistance. Life is a stage, and every moment you are performing a role. The question is, which role are you rehearsing in your imagination? Are you embodying someone the world sees as ordinary, or someone who is remembered, admired, and desired? Close your eyes and see it. See yourself walking into a room. Notice how people look up, how they straighten in their seats, how conversations pause for just a moment because your presence has weight. See it so vividly that you can almost hear the silence it creates. Hold that picture until it feels natural, until it feels like home. Soon reality has no choice but to bend to it, for life always mirrors the conviction you carry inside. And when you open your mouth, let your words confirm that image. Words are not small things, words are seeds. Each one carries with it the power to build or to diminish, to elevate or to cheapen. People remember how you speak long after they've forgotten what you wore. Luxury is not loud, it is refined, intentional, and unforgettable. Choose words that uplift, words that command attention without force, words that leave people leaning in closer. Speak with calm authority, with a rhythm that suggests you are not in a hurry, with a clarity that cuts through noise. You do not need to fill every silence, for true confidence is comfortable with pause. When you speak like this, your words become velvet, smooth, deliberate, reach, and people walk away carrying the echo of your voice in their minds. But words alone are not enough. You must master presence. Presence is what makes people feel you before you ever open your mouth. Presence is luxury because it is rare. Most people are scattered, distracted, caught up in their own noise. To meet someone who is fully here, undivided, is unforgettable. Luxury is never rushed. It does not beg for attention. It commands it. When you walk with presence, you carry yourself as though time bends for you, not the other way around. When you speak with presence, every pause becomes powerful because people know you are not wasting their ears. Think of the person who made you feel like you were the only one in the world when they spoke to you. Their eyes did not wander. Their mind was not elsewhere. They gave you their full attention, and in that moment you felt valuable. That is presence. That is what lingers long after the meeting is over. And if you choose to carry that kind of presence, others will remember you not because of what you had, but because of how you made them feel. And that is the secret of true luxury. It is not about the object, it is about the experience. A luxury car is not just metal and wheels, it is the sense of freedom, status, and comfort it gives. A luxury watch is not just time, it is craftsmanship, heritage, and story. Likewise, you are not just a person in the crowd, you are the experience you create in others. Make them feel seen, make them feel significant. Make them feel as though they have touched something rare in being with you. That is what will separate you. People do not remember common gestures, but they never forget when someone pierces past the surface and touches the soul. I once heard of a leader who remembered the smallest detail about someone he met years earlier. When he mentioned it, that person felt like they mattered, as though they were not invisible. That memory stayed with them for a lifetime. That is the impact of creating emotional experiences. When people associate you with a feeling they cannot easily find elsewhere, they begin to see you as valuable, irreplaceable, yes, as luxury. But to sustain this, you must protect your energy. The rarest things are guarded. They are not everywhere, they are not for everyone, and that is precisely why they are desired. When you scatter your time, your attention, your presence to everyone and everything, you dilute your value. But when you choose carefully where you invest yourself, when you say no to what drains you and yes only to what aligns with your worth, you become rare. Scarcity creates value. A diamond in every pocket would be nothing more than a stone, but a diamond preserved, refined, and rare is priceless. Guard your energy as though it is your finest possession. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everything requires your attention. When people recognize that your presence is a privilege and not a right, they begin to treat it with respect. And when they are finally in your company, the moment carries weight. They listen more intently, they value it more deeply, because they know it is not ordinary. All of this flows together into one truth. To be seen as a luxury is not about external decoration. It is about embodying a state of being. It is about believing in your worth so strongly that the world cannot look away. When you refine your inner image, when you speak with elegance, when you carry yourself with presence, when you create unforgettable experiences, when you guard your energy as the rarest of treasures, people will not just see you, they will remember you. They will carry you in their thoughts long after you have gone, because what you gave them was not common, not replaceable, but rare. Life always mirrors who you are, not what you want. And when you choose to be rare within, the world cannot help but treat you as luxury without. There comes a moment in life when you must ask yourself a question that changes everything. How do I want to be seen? Not in the shallow sense of appearances, not in the fleeting way of trends, but in the depth of your being. What impression do you wish to leave wherever you go? Most people never pause long enough to answer this. They drift, they react, they become whatever the world presses upon them, and in that drifting they become invisible. But if you desire to be remembered, if you desire to stand out as rare, as desirable, as luxury, then you must begin with intention. You must begin by shaping the story you tell about yourself, not with words alone, but with the energy you carry into every encounter. Luxury is not something you chase. It is not something you beg to be recognized for. It is something you embody until the world has no choice but to acknowledge it. The richest truth is that the perception others hold of you is always a reflection of the perception you hold of yourself. If you shrink, the world will shrink you. If you carry yourself as common, the world will treat you as common. But if you stand in the knowing that you are rare, irreplaceable, and worthy of admiration, that knowing becomes a law written in the air around you. I have often observed that the most unforgettable people are not the loudest, not the ones waving for attention, but the ones who know who they are before they step into the room. Their presence enters before they do. You feel them. There is something about them that cannot be copied, something that demands respect without ever having to ask for it. That something is not accident. It is cultivated within. They decided who they were long before anyone else confirmed it. Think of the greatest performers, the legends who have shaped culture. Before their names were known, They carried within themselves a belief that they were destined to be seen, destined to be heard, destined to be remembered. That belief was not arrogance, it was conviction. It was a refusal to accept invisibility. And because they saw themselves as rare, the world had to see them the same way. What you hold within will always press itself outward. The outer world is clay in the hands of your inner conviction. So if you long to be seen as a luxury, you must start where no one else can see. In the silence of your own mind, in the theater of your imagination, you must rehearse a new identity. Picture yourself walking with the confidence of someone who does not compete because they know they are already complete. Picture people leaning in when you speak, feeling uplifted simply by the sound of your voice. See yourself leaving rooms where silence follows, not because you demanded it, but because your presence created a gravity that pulled all eyes and all hearts toward you. This is not daydreaming, it is creation. It is the seed from which perception grows. But it is not only the image you hold, it is the way you choose to live. To be seen as luxury means to refine the details of your life. Luxury is in the way you carry yourself when no one is watching. It is in the way you handle your challenges, the way you speak of yourself, the way you treat others. It is in your patience, your calm, your certainty. Most people hurry through life, restless, anxious, desperate to prove themselves. But luxury does not rush. Luxury does not beg for recognition. Luxury knows its worth and trusts that the world will catch up to it. Think of a time when you walked into a space where everything was arranged with care, perhaps a beautifully lit restaurant, or a store where every detail felt deliberate. That space made you feel something, didn't it? You slowed down, you looked closer, you valued it more. Why? Because care creates value. When you begin to treat your own life with that kind of care, people will feel it. They will see you differently, not because of what you say, but because of what you embody. And in this embodiment, your words, your actions, your presence will shift. You will stop speaking for approval, and you will begin to speak with authority. You will stop giving away your time to everything and everyone, and you will begin to guard it like the rarest of treasures. People will notice, they always do. They notice when you no longer rush to answer every call, when you no longer bend to every demand, when you no longer explain your worth. They notice because suddenly you have become scarce, and scarcity is power. Scarcity creates desire. Remember, the most expensive jewels are not found on every corner. They are hidden, preserved, revealed only to those who know their value. And because they are rare, they are treasured. So it must be with you. Stop scattering yourself so freely that people forget your worth. Begin to choose carefully where you give your presence. Let people feel that being with you is not an accident, not a casual encounter, but a privilege. And when they finally have that privilege, let them walk away changed by the experience. Let them walk away feeling uplifted, inspired, seen in a way they have not felt in a long time. That is how they will remember you. I once knew someone who never raised their voice, never begged for attention, yet wherever they went, people turned to look. At first, I thought it was their appearance, but I soon realized it was something deeper. It was the way they listened as though every word mattered, the way they paused before speaking as though each thought was worth the weight of silence, the way they carried themselves as though nothing could shake their center. That was their luxury. And it could not be bought, it could not be faked, it could not be taken away. It was who they were. When you begin to live like this, you stop worrying about proving yourself. You stop asking to be chosen, and you start choosing yourself. And in that choice, you rise above the noise of the ordinary. People sense it. They respect it, they desire it, and soon they cannot help but see you as rare, as valuable, as unforgettable, as a luxury. There is a difference between being noticed and being remembered. To be noticed is fleeting. It happens in a glance, a moment, and is gone as quickly as it came. But to be remembered, to leave an impression that lingers in the hearts and minds of people, that is something entirely different. That is not given freely. It is earned by the way you shape your presence in the world. If you wish for others to see you as rare, as valuable, as something beyond ordinary, You must understand that true luxury is never about appearances alone. It is about depth. It is about the atmosphere you carry, the energy you release, the experience you create for others without even trying. Think of the last time you walked into a place that felt extraordinary. Maybe it was a hotel lobby where the lighting, the scent, the calm silence seemed to slow your breathing. Maybe it was a restaurant where the details were so carefully chosen that you felt special just by sitting at the table. What struck you was not only what you saw, but what you felt. That feeling is what made it memorable. And in the same way, if you want to be seen as a luxury, you must become an experience for others. They may forget your clothes, your hairstyle, your words, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And how do you make someone feel extraordinary? You begin by being fully present with them. When you strip away distraction, when you give your attention with honesty, when your eyes truly see the person in front of you, they experience something rare. Most people are not seen. Most people are half listened to, brushed aside, drowned out by the noise of life. But when you stop, when you listen deeply, when you respond not out of habit, but out of genuine interest, you become unforgettable. They may not say it aloud, but inside they will know being in your presence felt different. It felt important. It felt like touching something rare. This is why those who command respect often say little, but leave so much behind. Their power is not in what they give materially, but in what they create emotionally. True luxury is an emotional experience. A watch, a car, a gown, these are objects. What makes them valuable is not the thing itself, but the story, the heritage, the way they make people feel when they wear it, when they drive it, when they hold it. You must become the living version of that. Your story, your energy, your presence must make people feel as though they have touched something that cannot be replicated. Consider someone you admire, someone whose presence shifts the atmosphere when they walk into the room. Often, it is not their appearance alone that creates the shift. It is their composure, their stillness, their certainty. It is the way they do not need to prove themselves, the way they let silence do the work that others try to fill with noise. Luxury does not shout. Luxury whispers, and the world leans in to hear it. You must stop believing that louder means stronger or that rushing makes you more important. Slow down, speak with intention, walk with ease. Let your actions suggest that you have nothing to prove, because you already know who you are. I once met a man at a gathering who never once raised his voice, never once tried to dominate the conversation. Yet everyone noticed him. Why? Because when he finally spoke, he spoke with weight. Every word felt like it carried thought, consideration, and calm confidence. And the silence he kept before he spoke made his words all the more powerful. That is what luxury feels like. It is not abundance of noise, but the richness of meaning. But there is more. To truly be seen as a luxury, you must learn to value your own energy above all else. Most people give themselves away cheaply. They hand out their time, their attention, their presence to anyone who asks, and then wonder why they are not valued. But value increases with rarity. Diamonds are not scattered across sidewalks. They are hidden deep within the earth, rare and difficult to access. And for that reason, they are treasured. In the same way, if you want others to treasure your presence, stop giving it away carelessly. Not everyone should have access to your inner world. Not every situation deserves your attention. You must guard yourself as though your time and your presence are the rarest commodities you possess, because they are. And notice what happens when you do this. People begin to see you differently. They begin to realize that being with you is not casual, not guaranteed, but special. They begin to treat you with the respect they give to things they cannot easily have. And when they do finally share space with you, the weight of that moment grows. They listen more, they care more, they remember more. Because now you are not ordinary, you are rare. You have become luxury. But perhaps the most profound truth is this: the way others see you is always a reflection of the way you see yourself. If you carry yourself as though you are replaceable, they will treat you as replaceable. If you diminish yourself to fit in, they will diminish you too. But if you dare to walk as though you are a rare jewel, if you dare to speak as though your voice carries weight, if you dare to treat yourself with the care and reverence of something valuable, the world has no choice but to mirror that back. Life is only ever echoing your own belief. So I ask you, what image are you holding? What story are you telling yourself about your worth? Do you see yourself as rare, or do you see yourself as common? Do you see yourself as unforgettable, or do you see yourself as easily replaced? The answer is not in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes you carry when you look into the mirror. The world is simply showing you what you already believe, and when you finally choose to shift that belief, everything changes. You will no longer chase approval because you already approve of yourself. You will no longer demand recognition because recognition will follow you naturally. You will no longer rush to prove your value because your value will speak without words. Others will begin to whisper your name, not because you begged for attention, but because you became unforgettable by the way you made them feel. And long after you are gone, that feeling will remain, and they will know they have touched something rare, something precious, something that cannot be replaced. Every person you meet carries a hunger inside them, though they may never admit it. It is not a hunger for food or wealth or possessions, but for meaning. People long to feel significant, to feel seen, to feel that their life matters in ways others often overlook. Most walk through their days starved of that recognition, passing through conversations where their words are not truly heard, offering smiles that are not truly noticed. And when someone enters their world who gives them even a moment of genuine acknowledgement, it feels like water in a desert. This is the hidden key to being unforgettable. If you want to be seen as luxury, you must understand that luxury is never only about what something is, but about how it makes you feel. Think of the first time you held something that felt rare, perhaps a beautifully crafted object, maybe a gift carefully chosen just for you, or a place that stirred a sense of wonder within you. What made it memorable was not simply its cost or its appearance, but the way it touched you inside. It awakened an emotion you had not felt in a long time. It made you feel worthy of something greater. That is the secret. True luxury is emotional. And if you can become the person who awakens that emotion in others, they will never forget you. Consider this in your own life. Who do you remember most vividly? Often it is not the ones who spoke the most, nor the ones who were the most decorated on the surface. It is the ones who touched your soul in small, almost invisible ways. Perhaps they said your name with warmth when you felt invisible. Perhaps they remembered a detail you mentioned in passing and brought it up months later. Perhaps they looked you in the eye and truly listened when no one else seemed to care. That moment, simple as it was, stays with you because it awakened a sense of being seen. That in itself is luxury. To be seen as luxury in the eyes of others, you must become the one who creates experiences that cannot be forgotten. Not through grand displays, not through extravagance, but through emotional depth. People do not carry with them the memory of what you wore or what you owned, but they carry forever the memory of how you made them feel about themselves. Become the one who makes others feel valuable, and you yourself will be seen as priceless. But how do you create this? It begins with attention. Attention is the most overlooked form of wealth because it cannot be faked. When you give someone your full attention, when you put aside distraction and meet them fully in the moment, they experience something rare. They feel as though time has slowed for them. They feel important. Most people do not know this gift because true attention is so scarce in a world obsessed with noise and speed. But when you give it, you set yourself apart instantly. You become the moment they never forget. I remember once sitting across from someone who had every reason to be distracted. Their life was busy, their responsibilities heavy, yet in that moment, they looked at me as though there was nothing else in the world. Their eyes did not wander, their mind did not race ahead to the next task. They listened with patience, responded with thoughtfulness, and made me feel as though my words mattered. That moment still lingers years later, because it was not common, it was rare. And because it was rare, it felt like a gift of the highest value. That is what you must become for others. Luxury also lies in the way you leave people after you've gone. Do you leave them drained, or do you leave them elevated? Do they walk away questioning themselves, or do they walk away feeling lighter, braver, more capable because of you? The impact you leave is your true signature. If your presence becomes a place of refuge, if people feel peace when they are near you, if they feel empowered after speaking with you, they will seek you again and again. They will associate you with feelings they cannot easily find elsewhere, and anything that cannot be found everywhere becomes valuable. You must begin to think of yourself as an experience, not just a person. When someone enters your orbit, what is it that they experience? Do they feel tension, or do they feel calm? Do they feel dismissed, or do they feel deeply recognized? Do they feel ordinary, or do they feel extraordinary in your presence? This is not about pretending, it is about choosing. It is about deciding that you will not move through the world half asleep, but that you will awaken yourself fully so you can awaken others. That decision alone separates you from the majority. The most luxurious experiences in life are not about wealth or status, but about atmosphere. A candlelit room, soft music, and embrace at the right moment, these do not cost much, yet they feel priceless because of the way they stir something within us. You can carry that same atmosphere with you wherever you go. It is in the calm of your breath, the thoughtfulness of your words, the warmth of your gaze. It is in the way you listen with your heart and not just your ears. It is in the way you let people feel safe to be themselves in your presence. That is how you become unforgettable. And let us be clear, creating this kind of experience does not mean sacrificing yourself or pouring endlessly into others until you are empty. On the contrary, it means knowing your worth so fully that you can afford to give without fear of losing yourself. It means guarding your energy, not to withhold it, but to ensure that when you do give it, it is potent, rich, and real. Scarcity is what makes something precious. If you are everywhere, if you give yourself away carelessly, people will take you for granted. But if you choose carefully, if you give fully and sincerely only where it matters, you become rare. And in your rarity, you become priceless. This is why some people are unforgettable even years after they are gone. It is not their possessions that we remember, nor their accomplishments, but the way they made us feel in their presence. They awakened something in us that others overlooked. They made us feel important, seen, and significant. And in doing so, they became extraordinary. They became luxury in human form. When you begin to live this way, you stop chasing approval because you understand something deeper. You realize that true power is not in being everywhere or being everything to everyone. True power is in being rare, in being intentional, in being the person who creates moments of meaning in a world starved of them. And when you choose to live like this, others cannot help but see you differently. They cannot help but treasure you. They cannot help but remember you, because you have become the rare experience they did not know they were searching for. There is something sacred about energy. You cannot see it with your eyes, yet you feel it in every encounter, in every space, in every person who crosses your path. Some people drain you, leaving you heavy, as though the very life has been pulled from your chest. Others lift you, so that even a short conversation lingers with you for hours, like sunlight warming your skin. This invisible current is more valuable than gold, and yet most treat it carelessly, giving it away without thought, scattering it in places where it is neither appreciated nor respected. If you want others to see you as rare, as valuable, as luxury, you must begin by treasuring this unseen force within you. You must guard your energy as the rarest of all possessions, for it is the foundation of how the world perceives you. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to you. Not every situation requires your attention. You are not obligated to pour yourself endlessly into places that do not recognize your worth. To be everywhere is to be common, and what is common is quickly taken for granted. But when you become selective, when you choose carefully where your time and presence flow, you create a sense of rarity. And rarity is the soil from which value grows. Think for a moment of the finest jewels in the world. They are not found scattered across every street or stacked carelessly on every counter. They are hidden, preserved, protected. They are difficult to access, and precisely because of that they are treasured. If diamonds were as common as stones, no one would give them a second glance. Their worth is born from their scarcity. And so it is with you. If you allow yourself to be everywhere, if you give yourself away without discernment, you diminish your value. But when you become deliberate, when you guard your presence, when you reveal yourself only where it matters, you become priceless. I remember once meeting someone who understood this truth without ever saying it aloud. They were not always available, not always easy to reach, but when they gave you their time, it felt like a gift. They did not scatter themselves. They did not try to please everyone. And because of that, their presence carried weight. When they entered a room, people paid attention, not because they demanded it, but because their very arrival was rare. That is the kind of value you must learn to create. It is not arrogance. It is not withholding. It is simply understanding that your energy is too precious to be spent without intention. But guarding your energy does not mean shutting yourself off from the world. It means choosing consciously. It means saying no without guilt when something does not align with your worth. It means refusing to stay in places that drain your spirit. It means valuing your time so deeply that others begin to value it as well. And when they do, your presence becomes a privilege, not a convenience. They will treat you differently. They will approach you with respect. They will listen more carefully, honor more deeply, because they understand that your time is not something that can be demanded. It is something that is given. And notice how this shifts everything about the way you live. When you stop scattering yourself, you stop feeling empty. You stop burning out. You stop living as though you must constantly prove yourself by being available to everyone. You begin instead to fill yourself, to nurture yourself, to choose with wisdom. And the fuller you are, the more powerful your presence becomes. You become like a rare fragrance. One drop is enough to change the entire atmosphere. People do not need you in abundance to remember you. They only need one encounter, one moment, one taste of your energy to know they have touched something rare. Think also of how this plays out in the world of luxury itself. Luxury is never everywhere. You cannot walk into every corner shop and find the rarest goods. They are reserved, they are few, they are exclusive. This is not by accident, it is by design. Scarcity heightens desire, and while you are not an object to be bought or sold, the principle is the same. When you guard your presence, when you refuse to let yourself be consumed carelessly, you become rare. And people crave what is rare, but this requires courage. It requires the courage to disappoint those who believe they have constant access to you. It requires the courage to walk away from situations that do not serve your spirit. It requires the courage to say no even when your heart longs to be liked, to be approved, to be accepted. Yet, it is in these choices that you rise above the ordinary. It is in these choices that you create the aura of luxury. Because luxury never begs, luxury never chases, luxury never explains itself endlessly. Luxury simply is, and the world adjusts to its presence. I once knew a woman who understood this so deeply that it became her very essence. She never rushed to respond, never bent herself to meet every demand. She moved with calm assurance, as though time bent for her. Some thought her distant, until they finally had the privilege of her presence. And then they understood. Her silence was not coldness, it was power. Her restraint was not arrogance, it was value. And when she finally gave her energy, it was rich, profound, unforgettable. She was not everywhere, and because of that, she was seen as rare. This is the art you must learn. To give without giving yourself away. To love without losing yourself. To serve without scattering. To be generous but not careless, present but not common, available but not ordinary. When you master this balance, your energy becomes something people respect instinctively. They will guard it because you guard it. They will value it because you value it. And soon, without saying a word, you will be seen as luxury. For at the heart of it all, being seen as luxury is not about decoration or performance. It is about belief. It is about deciding that your time, your presence, your energy are treasures, and living as though they are. It is about treating yourself with reverence so that the world has no choice but to do the same. And when you live this way, others will not simply notice you. They will remember you. They will feel you. They will know that in your presence they have touched something rare, and they will treasure that memory long after the moment has passed. To be seen as a luxury is not about external things. It is about embodying a state of mind, a presence, an energy that others cannot ignore. When you see yourself as rare, speak with elegance, carry unshakable presence, create unforgettable experiences, and guard your energy, the world will have no choice but to respond in kind. Remember this? The mirror of life reflects not what you want, but who you are. So be luxury within, and luxury will surround you.